owning your own business still the American dream? We felt like this was a great topic to discuss shortly after Independence Day.
Well, the point is, folks, that when you choose any business opportunity or franchise, you want to look ahead, look for the future, look what can survive, what's going to be around. We think most restaurants are going to be around, and yet a whole bunch of them went out of business, just because of the pandemic. As a company, though, and as an industry, we were helping doctors to stay in private practice, to thrive during the pandemic. And so that's why our licensees continue to make money. They continue to add new clients. We continue to grow as a company because it just doesn't affect the healthcare. Healthcare is just always going to be around.
We just came out of, the pandemic as we know of. And so, people are always asking, how did any of the ABS business owners survive? But gosh, whenever we see articles like this, the entrepreneurs started businesses in record numbers during the pandemic. Gosh, this is information that folks that are on the call need to know about.
Yeah, I mean, it says right here when COVID-19 forced furloughs and layoffs and business closures, people responded by starting small businesses. So it's a good thing. Not we don't want other businesses to go out of business, but when other businesses go out of business, that leaves a gap. That leaves a space
Correct.
for you. Eric, I happen to know of a large medical billing company that went out of business simply because they did not know how to deal with the telemedicine and the other things that we introduced many, many months ago. And yet our licensees, our business owners, continued to thrive because we had the right tools.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the people that's well known in the industry about growth and small businesses is Tony Robbins, and he's got a great one here. We started doing some research about businesses that do well in recessions.
Yeah, I mean, he says right here that the number two thing, I forget what the number one was. We just clipped out number two here. Like groceries, people need healthcare to live. That demand doesn't decline when the economy does. Healthcare is always, look at this, healthcare is always inelastic, meaning the demand for it doesn't change based on its price. Demand for healthcare may even rise during a recession as people, seek help with mental health.
Right. And, during the recession, there was a lot of that, and there was a lot of growth for doctors that took advantage of what they needed to do. And then so did the medical billing groups, they did, and some failed, some thrived. And a lot of our ABS business owners thrived during not only a crisis and what happened during that time, but also during now that we're going into what some people say is a recession.
Yeah,
I know my dollars don't buy as much as they used to anymore. For me, that's a recession.
Hey, I'm pointing out here too, at the bottom of the slide, folks, we do have links to these actual articles, so you'll know that we're not just making this up. And the way to get these, of course, I know that's hard to see and hard to copy and all that. You could take a screenshot of this if you wanted to, and then go type in that link. Or you can ask your ABS rep who sent you the email to come to this webinar, ask them for a copy of the slides, and we'll send you those, and then you'll have all those available.
Yeah, you bet. Now, this is the one that I was pointing to today. This just came out July the 5th, just yesterday. 10 reasons you should start a new business today. In that, there are several things that, Patrick, you and I talk about it seems like all the time. And that is everything from, being your own boss to doing what you need to do and making all of that what you need for it to be for you. And I know that there is I think these kind of got out of order here just a little bit, but let me put this one up here because this article goes on to say, are you ready to take the plunge? Now, I'm going to let you kind of finish that out because this is where, again, where you kind of know about what it means that you could be holding your own self back.
Yeah, I mean, it basically boils down to this. The truth is, it says most of the time, those are just excuses. What we come up with in our heads as to why we're not starting a business, a lot of the times, those are just things that are just excuses because we don't want to fail. As human beings, we just got it innately inside of us, and we want to succeed at whatever we try. And Eric, we've done many webinars on why people fail in business and why as a business, this one is pretty tough to fail at it. Basically, if you put it on the shelf and you don't do anything that we teach you, of course, you're not going to make anything with it.
You bet. And another article that came from Forbes is Small Businesses Boom Post Pandemic and New Ways of Doing Business. And again, this came out in May. And gosh, I mean, just look at the numbers here.
Yeah, it says right here, even after the first year of the pandemic, there actually was a small business boom, according to a recent White House report. We are continuing to grow as a country with small businesses. They're opening up every day, as we'll see here in the next slide or two. It's just huge growth, and it's not going to stop because that's just the way Americans are. We like to start our own business.
You know, everybody's heard of Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And if you haven't gotten his book and gotten a hold of that, you know, you need to get it and read it. But he says the number one thing people can do to increase their wealth is to start a part-time business. And Patrick, there's a lot of our business owners that started this particular business as a part-time business.
Yeah, I interviewed one of our business owners just a couple of weeks ago, I believe it was, Lauren Patrick. She said she started this while she was running a full-time consulting business that she had. So she would put in 40 hours a week on that business and then work this one, because there is a way to build this business, folks, outside the regular 9 to 5 hours. And we can teach you how to do that. Many of our licensees have done that.
Absolutely. Now, you were alluding to, again, Patrick, the growth of businesses here, home-based businesses in America.
Yeah, one is started every 12 seconds, that one on the left says, and that's $427 billion per year that are generated by home-based businesses. So it's a huge thing that people don't realize how many people, some of your neighbors probably have their own business and you just don't even know about it. They could be selling products on Amazon or all kinds of stuff that's out there. This is just one of the many things that can be run from your home as a home business with your family participating, if that's what you want to do, or you can travel and just go all over the United States doing it.
Well, just the fact that there are, you know, several people on here today, folks, you already know some of these statistics. You already know that you probably need to look at doing something from a home-based business or working for yourself or doing something. You know, you are less than 1% of the 1%ers out there that are actually looking to do something to better themselves. So, and what you're doing, you're just going through the motions of saying, which business is there? What's out there? What is sustainable? What can I get a quick return on my investment on? What is the fast path for that? And hopefully Patrick and I can answer some of those questions for you. And again, remember, you can type in some of your questions. We've got one up here from Mandrakandan. Hopefully I said your name correctly. But during pandemic, there was provisions for the common people to waive off their billed amounts or delayed payments. How did that impact the billing industry? Well, that's a great question. Again, we saw a lot of our business owners thrive during that time. And it's because what they were doing, they were helping their doctors with cash flow. You got to remember, you become a revenue cycle management company. So anything you can help that doctor to increase cash flow, a lot of those payments were made by cash. Some were put on credit cards. Obviously, a lot of that was done by billing. But let me tell you, Medicare didn't stop, you know, producing claims. Neither did Blue Cross Blue Shield. They still paid claims during the pandemic. They had to. So really, there may have been some for some things that the doctor needed to bill for extra. Maybe they chopped some of that off, but still, the insurance companies still paid, and that's the bulk of where medical billing is coming from.
Yeah, you can bill for the doctor, the patient's portion, but remember, that's a small portion, really,
Right.
maybe less than 20% of what the doctor collects. Most of your billing is done, like Eric said, to the commercial insurance companies and the government agencies, like Medicare.
Again, he says, understood, thanks. That's appreciate that we were able to help answer that question. Again, Patrick, you know, you've got a lot of from Insurian, again, they statistically say it's booming for home-based businesses. You know, we're just beating the drum with everybody else. It's still a good opportunity to end up working for yourself.
Yeah, I love that second one there, that yellow one. Every day, 7,855 businesses are started in America, home-based businesses.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So if you're dragging your feet or still doing your due diligence, you need to get your act together and get something started, folks. That yellow slip, I mean, that pink slip is it's on its way. You just don't realize it how fragile a normal job really is in today's world. Very
Yeah.
fragile.
James is asking a question. Is it preferred that I have a medical coding and billing experience when starting this business? I'm glad you asked it. I'm going to jump back up here real quickly, Patrick, to help answer that question. You can see right up in here, there is some of the services. There's one that's called CodeWrite. There's another one that's called Audit Guard. Now, James, these services here are medical coding and billing experience right there. So we have professional coders that if a doctor needs that, you've got that covered within the package. And the same thing right there with iClaim and EMRX. That's the billing that you'll have everything you need for the billing experience right there. Plus, you'll see that you're going to have support, lifetime of support. So you're going to have, again, everything that you're going to need. So to answer your question, you do not need to have an experience for coding and or billing. We take you from not knowing anything about codes to knowing how to process it. Great. He says, outstanding. Thank you. I appreciate that. Patrick, one of the questions that we do get often is, how did some of the ABS owners survive the last crisis? So I thought we would just play a brief little video of one of the licensees, one of our business owners, right during the middle of the pandemic.
Yeah, let's mute our mics.
Okay.
We had to figure out the new marketing paths with COVID-19, but we've done that. So
yeah. Well, I know that you're using our book, The New Thriving Medical Practice, because there's a copy right there with your name on the front cover.
Right. I've actually got one. I don't know if you all can see, but I've got one right here in my hand, and there's my name right on it. So you can see that. But this book actually has been a great tool because I sent this book to an orthopedic surgeon who called me and read the book. A gastro as well called me, a gastroenterologist, because of this book, and then also sent it to a dermatologist who's looking to grow his practice. And we went down and he called us, or his office administrator called us, and we went down and had a face-to-face. But yeah, so we're making headway, and it's just changed the dynamic a little bit in terms of how you market. And fortunately, ABS was ahead of the curve, not knowing, of course, that there was a pandemic coming, but in providing multiple tools, different ways, different paths to marketing. And so this book has been really good for us because you have to nowadays get yourself invited into their space.
Yeah, so you said that you had just basically mailed the book out to 2 or 3 doctors with a handwritten note.
Yeah, that's what I did. So let's talk about the dermatologist. I had never met him before. I saw online, I was doing a little research. I found this dermatologist and looked at their website, and I happened to see that they were hiring for somebody to do inside billing. And so I thought, okay. So I took out my book and put a little handwritten note in there and stuck it in an envelope and sent it to him. And a couple months went by because I did it pretty early. I would think it was before the pandemic. But once the pandemic hit, I think, there's a realization now with these doctors, like, oh, well, geez, my billing staff can't come into the office. I'm losing patients. There's all of a sudden a realization that there's trouble.
So Patrick, before we move off of that, why don't you share with them what CMRM, and that'll kind of help even James's question that he had earlier.
Yes. Well, Eric mentioned earlier in the introduction to this webinar, folks, that I had helped found an organization called the Medical Revenue Management Association of America. Well, that's where the MRM comes from. That's the Medical Revenue Manager. And you're certified, so it's CMRM. Those are the initials that you can put after your name, as you saw there on the cover of the book there. And you will be able to order those books as well, because we've partnered with a doctor, Dr. Vicki Ratner. And she actually has written this book along with me and co-authored it. And she's a very famous doctor that lectures all over the United States in front of other groups of doctors. So her specialty is in knowing how to connect a person who wants to connect with a doctor and market to the doctor. How do you make that connection? One of the ways is through books. And she's written several that, well, there's some of the others that she's written that we've participated in. My son co-wrote the one on the left there, 9 Ways Doctors Let Money Slip Through Their Fingers. And then I co-wrote that middle one there you see there. And then she wrote alone by herself, the 10 Critical Questions for Physicians in Private Practice. Anyway, bottom line is, folks, you get a supply of these with your name on them, personalized for you as a part of your license when you join us.
Absolutely. Now, folks, I mean, if you would like to get a copy of this, I think you can get a copy of the New Thriving Medical Practice right on Amazon.com. Now, we're not here selling the book or trying for you to buy the book or anything, but there are ways in which you can probably get a digital copy of this. So if you're on today, you might want to reach out to the person that invited you to maybe get a digital copy of this. So you can kind of take a look at it yourself. But you heard Daniel Elliott say, you know, how did he market? He sent these out during the pandemic, and out of that, he sent out 3 books, got 3 doctors out of that. And so for those that are on here today, you're wondering, gosh, how am I going to market my business to a doctor? I'm not a great salesperson. I'm a little scared about doing marketing because I want to be able to get a return on my investment. We've thought through all of those ways, and obviously the marketing using books has been very helpful.
Yeah, you heard how Dan had marketed. He basically mailed some books out during the COVID. He just mailed them out. We'll show you how to get those past the gatekeeper, by the way, onto the desk of the doctor. And when the doctor opens that book, we teach you also to mark the book up, highlight certain pages, and put little stickies on the doctor pages for the doctor. So all the doctor has to do is flip and read some of your highlighted passages, and boom, they are sold. You notice one of the doctors called him up and said, "I've read your book," as if he wrote the book. Just because his name is right there on the cover, it gives you huge credibility, folks, that you would not have any other way. So if you're wondering, how do you market this to doctors? We just gave you one of the secrets right there. Educate.
Absolutely. Educate them, and we're here to help you. And you'll find out another thing after you've educated them. Remember, I mentioned to you earlier about seeing the iClaim system for yourself in a live demonstration. Well, folks, that's another part of the business opportunity that you're getting from us. Our technical team, our support team will actually take your particular doctor after they've read your book and they say, "Hey, can you help me?" We're going to show them how by doing the demonstration of the software to them. Now, Patrick, the reason that medicine is not going anywhere is because, number one, you and I are getting older. That's just the fact.
Yeah. Look at this. I love this. Around 60% of baby boomers, that's people born between 1949 and 64, I think, they've been diagnosed with arthritis, diabetes, heart disease, and hypertension. Isn't that good news?
That's good news for a biller.
Well, the reason it's good news for us in this business is this requires them to have regular checkups on their health, take prescription medication, and look at their diet properly. Medical experts believe that the musculoskeletal weaknesses, depression, diabetes, and nervous system problems common to many baby boomers today is going to put more strain on their need for care. Little wonder then that the healthcare is one of the fastest growing industries in America. Folks, talk about being at the right place at the right time. This is called timing, Eric.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So if you're still asking the question, is owning your own business still the American dream? It is. It is for some that see the potential here with medical billing, and you take the advantage of it. Now let's talk about the income potential, Patrick. There is growth, and this is again not our numbers; it's the numbers from the U.S. government of just kind of showing the growth from a GDP and where it's headed.
Yeah, revenue cycle management is what this business is all about, folks. We manage the revenue cycle, everything to do with the doctor's revenue. You're in charge of that. That's why you're a certified medical revenue manager when you go through our training. And look at the market size of this industry in 2020 was $105 billion. And the projection is that by 2028, it's going to be 249. Gosh, that's about twice that or more.
Almost. But you can see down there, I don't even know what GAR is, but that's a good thing from 2021 to 2028. There's still growth, and that's an estimated gain each year over an 8-year period. So folks, if you see that down there, there's one of Jason Pettit. Some of you may be talking to Jason. He just kind of explained it this way. That's an 11.22% estimated annual growth rate. That's a pretty strong for any industry to be in. So healthcare is here to stay.
Yeah, that is what that stands for. It's the compound annual growth rate. And
there you go.
It's 11.2% every year, folks, from 21 to 28. Every year it's growing at that rate. I don't know of any industry that's growing that fast, Eric, beyond this.
Yeah. Absolutely. And there's always new things that are happening within the medical field. And that's where the advantage of being with ABS, just like what happened during the pandemic, ABS was able to make new partnerships, get new technology to the base of business owners with American Business Systems, got them started with telemedicine, also virtual care, which is, again, that's something off the charts that you can even make money on and never even do the billing on. So there is always potential for more money to be made. But let's talk about, what kind of money can be made with just one doctor. And folks, at the bottom of our website, you go scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll see a link there that says income potential. And so what we've done, we've taken the screenshots from there. And so, Patrick, I thought maybe you and I could just kind of walk through here. You can see that the billing rate is basically what you're going to charge the doctor for filing claims. And you can see the normal range is anywhere from 4 to 8. That's grown. So it really is about 6 to 7%. So we put 7% there. The average claim amount varies. You can see it can vary from $80 to $200 is a common, but basically when a doctor gets reimbursed, even from Medicare, they're getting anywhere from $120 to $150 per visit with that. So again, we've just taken the kind of the middle ground there at $150. And if the doctor is seeing anywhere from 20 to 30 patients a day, again, we kind of split the difference there. Let's say 25 patients. Now, what's great about this is your yearly potential income. So you got 7% of $150 claim for 25 patients being seen per day. The yearly potential income for that is $68,250. Now, folks, again, if you kind of let that sink in, that's just with one doctor. And a lot of people, Patrick, think that, gosh, if I could just make a 6-figure income, then I think I would be doing okay. Working for myself, maybe even $68,000, $70,000 might be enough. And it may be enough because you're not having to drive anywhere. You're being able to work from home. Imagine working for just one doctor making nearly $60,000 to $70,000 a year with one doctor. And one of the things, Patrick, we haven't talked about is how long does it take to do that?
Right. Like this is 25 claims a day.
If you had one, right. So even if you say it took me a half a day, gosh, and it's not going to take you half a day. Typically, for a length of of an experienced biller, probably take them a couple of hours a day or less to do that. Yeah. So even if you said, look, my goal is just get one doctor. One doctor is what I'm looking for. Mm-hmm. $68,000. Now you heard Dan say, gosh, he ended up with 3. So triple that. Well, you can already see that you're within 6 figures. And again, probably comfortably working 3 doctors a day, you're going to be able to do it. Now, what the great thing about it is, you've got to look about what your potential is with one client based upon what your the one investment that you're making here with American Business Systems, Patrick?
Yeah, just like most franchises have an upfront franchise fee, they call it, and that can be anywhere from $15,000 to $100,000 depending on the franchise. I think a Subway sandwich shop is like 60,000. This is what's amazing, folks, is that our licensing fee is less than $30,000. Now, that may seem like a lot of money right now if you haven't researched businesses, but that is a fee that's a one-time lifetime fee, meaning you'll never pay us another dime for support, training, ongoing webinars, any new services we introduce. That's all included in that one-time fee. Why? Because we make money on the back end on all of the services, so we don't need to charge you anything extra. I just don't believe in nickel and diming people to death, Eric. So that's the fee, and it's just a one-time thing. And we think it's very reasonable, especially since you can make 68,000 billing for one doctor.
Absolutely. I mean, you could have your return on your investment within the first year and then be in making money by the end of the year. So you're going to be doing, most people do just fine. Eric is asking the question, do we offer leads or do we find doctors or do you find doctors on your own? The answer is, first of all, part of your question, no, we don't provide leads because there are really no doctors that are going, hey, I'm looking for a medical biller. So there's really no legitimate leads out there. If anybody's saying that they've got leads for you, those leads are dead leads. I can just tell you, Patrick and I have been at this long enough. I've been with ABS for over 15 years. We've tried to buy leads to get them to our licensees and group that just never work, because by the time that we get the lead and get it to the business owner, they've already moved on. So it was costing us way too much. It was costing you too much time. So again, what do we do to help you get doctors and find doctors? Well, again, if you listen to what Dan said, we've got the resources to get you the books, to print your name on them, to show you how to get those in the doctor's hands. It's just a process. So you get enough of those out there, you're going to have a doctor calling you instead of you trying to call the doctor. So instead of trying to chase the business actually starts coming to you. That's what we teach you and show you how to do that.
Yeah, like Dan said in that clip we saw earlier, that doctor called him only because he knew what to do correctly to put that book into the doctor's hands. And Erica, there are databases that we're going to point you to in our training. We do point you to some databases that are out there available where you can see all the doctors, for example, all the podiatrists in your zip code area. There are databases like that, but again, those are not doctors who are just waiting to sign up. If they were, we wouldn't need you. We would just be signing up ourselves. And as a company, we don't do billing for doctors.
Exactly. I thought we had listened to another quick little interview you did with Steve and Beverly Ryder here. This will be helpful.
Yeah, I'm going to mute.
Okay.
All right, now I didn't ask you if I could share this email from you, this little note that you sent me, Beverly, but I'm going to throw this up here. I just thought it was a nice little note for you that you sent to me. You remember sending something about one of your clients and you sending an invoice?
I did, and I knew that was the email you were going to bring up, yes.
Yeah, we sent that around the office here. Everybody wanted to see that because Beverly is saying, she actually wrote this to Jordan in our office here. Says one of my clients is receiving an invoice for $25,663.93. That was a nice month for you there, wasn't it?
That really was, yeah. That was very, very nice.
Now, just so people kind of wrap their brains around that of course is not, well, that is the money that you made for the doctor. Is that right?
That is the money that I made, yes. This particular client is a pathology doctor, and the billing that we were doing for her netted her $500,000 a month, and so this is the money that I made, yes. This particular client is a pathology doctor, and the billing that we were doing for her netted her $500,000 a month, and so then I just took my percentage off of that $500,000, and that's what I billed her for our services.
Wow.
Yeah, so she was charging 5%. That's because the volume was so huge on that.
Absolutely. Yeah, the volume was huge. I mean, and so our support team is going to help you whenever you're doing what's called a practice analysis. We'll help you engage you, what you need to be charging those doctors. And another one, I think you recently did another interview with Laura Dean, but gosh, this is as of just last year. They're doing fairly well as well.
Yeah, 17 full-time employees they hired. Now, remember, those people don't all work in the office that they have. Some of them work out of their home, but they own a 6,000 square foot office space. That's how much money they've made, Eric, is they've been able to buy a building and lease that out to other companies. And then they service 400 to 500 providers. Now, folks, a provider, that's just a term we use for medical doctor. They provide medical services, and it replaces 3 to 4 times Laura and Brian's previous incomes.
Yeah.
So, folks, you saw that previous quote there. She made $25,000 in 1 month. Eric, I don't know of many opportunities that are out there on the internet or anywhere else where you can invest 28,000 or 29,000, let's say, into a business and in 1 month almost get that entire part back.
They're not that I know of. I mean,
that's because there's a huge profit margin in this, Eric, because mainly it is your labor. If you hire somebody else to do the billing, of course, you've got to give up some of that, but that means Laura and Brian are actually profiting 45 to 55% of everything they bring in, even though they have 17 employees.
You bet. Absolutely. Here's another one that is just amazing here.
Let's just talk about your business, Wendy. When you first came through the training, what did you do to go out and market? How did you get your first client?
We got a client from the internet.
Well, and so that first client came because they saw your website and said, I think I need some help. And so doctors really do go out and search for help with their billing, don't they?
Yes. And, with our internet marketing and stuff like that, the vast majority of the info requests that I get via email from them typically come in, in the evenings, weekends, and stuff like that. So when these doctors are sitting there, they're looking at their numbers and they're, when things are quiet, the staff's not around, and they're like, well, what's going on here?
Yeah.
So that's usually when we get the vast majority of our info requests.
So have you gotten referrals from some doctors to other doctors?
Yep, we've gotten referrals from doctors. Our current providers, we've gotten referrals to.
All right, so let's jump ahead in time just so people can see where you're at today. How many clients do you think approximately?
30, 40 clients. I should know the number off the top of my head. I know we have quite a few. We have quite a few clients, and we're, the vast majority of my clients were in Ohio. And then Georgia and Texas and New Jersey and stuff like that. So we're kind of all over the place at this point. We have a doctor down in Florida that we do scheduling for. We're an outsourced scheduling company for them. So it's we do a little bit of everything, and we don't have one specific specialty that we bill for. We kind of work with all of them. There's not been one that I have said no to. I take.
It doesn't matter, does it? There's too many different types of doctors out there. So I know what you're saying, because every time I interview a licensee, they're usually not clear as to how many clients they have, because you count a client, of course, as a practice probably, and yet some of those practices have multiple providers or doctors. So that number is.
We have a counseling group that, they have over 100 providers at that group. So they're all different sizes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now you have some employees now, right?
Yep, I do. I've got 7.
Yes.
Hey, can you slide that over to about 520? This is where we do some things similar to what we just looked at, but I want you to hear what she says about her income. When we talk, this was the name of this webinar with her was how to make $1 million working from home. So watch this.
Safari browser here, and there's live on our website, and up here at the top, I don't think this is showing right now because I've got this too narrow, but there's a menu up there about income potential. So what I wanted to do is just plug in some numbers here. Now, we've got some already plugged in, but let me talk about these just for a second, Wendy. You said you had 30 to 40. Let's just put 30 in there just to see what happens. 30 clients. Average number of patients each doctor sees per day. Now, it's got 20 in there. Are there doctors seeing 20 patients or more or less, or is that?
It depends on the practice. Like, you know, I mean, I've got some practices that see, you know, I don't know, probably 50 patients a day. I mean, there are some practices that go hog wild, all crazy. So it just depends on the practice, how many doctors are in that practice and that type of thing. So.
And are most of those doctors open 5 days a week now? You think?
Yeah, actually, I think almost all of mine. I've got some that are 6 days a week. Most are 5 days. Most are definitely 5 days, though.
All right, now it's asking for the charge, and just to explain it to people, I mentioned earlier 7% because that's probably an average, but you don't charge every client the same. It depends on their volume and the type of doctor and all kinds of things. But what would you say the range is there? Does it go down to 5%? Does it go up to 8, 9%?
Yeah, I mean, we've got anywhere from, I've got some 4 all the way up to 8%, just depending on the size of the practice.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's just leave 7 just to see. We can always plug something else in there because, folks, you can do this yourself on our website. Average claim now, it's saying about $100. Does that sound low in today's world?
No, that's probably pretty good. I mean, if you're looking at like a family practice, that's probably about right.
It is?
About
Okay.
$100 per visit.
All right. So let's hit submit here and see how much money she's making. There's that $1 million I was looking for right there.
Yep, that
Now,
sounds
folks,
right.
look, here's the disclaimer. Not everybody who says they lost 150 pounds on those weight loss ads on TV lost 150 pounds. And the same thing is true here. Not everybody's going to do the same amount of volume. They're not going to build it as big as Wendy has.
Eric, we can move on.
Kept this as small as you.
All right, that was very, very helpful for everybody.
That's our previous website. It was an older calculator, similar to the one we have now, as you saw. But the point is that she said, "Yeah, that sounds about right." When I got through there, so she wasn't gonna say that she was making $1 million. But folks, I don't know of any other business that you can invest under $30,000 up front, and then that's it. No investment after that, and you could have the possibility. Remember, the disclaimer is not everybody makes that kind of money. Of course, we're showing you some exceptional things here today because we want you to know what the upper limit is. You know, I don't care if not everybody makes that kind of money. I just want to know it's possible to make that kind of money in a business, and hey, I'll get involved.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and like you said, we have all the ancillary services. Like I said, everything we've added from virtual care to Dentamax. A lot of people asked if we could start doing dental billing. And again, once you join the ABS family, any of these services that are coming on are all included. There's not another dime that you have to ever pay ABS for any of the other services. And the network of support, Patrick, is what's helpful for brand new business owners to kind of get kicked off here.
Yeah, folks, we actually utilize our existing business owners. All these people you see right here on the screen, for example, this is just a small number of people that are involved in helping us to support and coach other people. So when you get involved in this business, you can actually have one of these people who have already proven that they're doing it full time, they're making a good living. They are paid by us for their time to coach other people. That's why this can be successful for anybody from any background. Folks, we have people from every educational background you can imagine and business background, most of them with no background in the medical industry whatsoever. And yet they're all being successful and they can help you grow your business as well.
And then our partnership supports out of all of our support mechanisms. This is actually NextGen's office that you and I went out there to California to talk with, and they support all of our business owners here at ABS.
Yeah, I mean, literally, when you count all of our technology partners from all of those ancillary services you just saw, We've got over 100 people from coast to coast that can support you in whatever it is that you need help with. Folks, there cannot be a question asked that we don't know the answer to, or one of our partners do.
And then, getting started can be probably the thing that kills most businesses. And I think what you and I have always seen, Patrick, is you can't start a business without a website. And I think that's where a lot of people kind of get stuck. But that's part of what they're getting already. They're getting a website that's already designed, it has already all the content, all the copy in it, and really just plug and play with their email address of their business, putting their business name on there. You've made it as easy as possible to kind of get this thing kicked off as quickly as possible.
Yeah, Eric, you could pay, anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000
Sure.
for professionally designed templates that we've got created for the licensees. You can pick your own graphics, you can add your logo. It's all personalized, but it already has all the content and all the text and copy for all of our services. So you don't have to spend weeks or months having somebody to design that for you. It's all included in your licensing fee.
And one of the other that keeps our ABS owners thriving is the fully integrated system. And this is a differentiator out in the market. Patrick, you and I have kind of talked in previous webinars, what you need to have to get out there and make a difference. And one way to make a difference is have something different than anybody else has. And that is true with the iClaim EMRX platform.
Yeah, and these are all tightly integrated. That is, they're not written by different companies and then just kind of pieced together. They're all involved in the same website, basically. You have an iClaim, which is the practice management system, which you have to have, of course, to do the billing. That's what you'll be in most of the time. The EMRX is the electronic medical records that the doctor can use on their iPad or tablet whenever they're visiting with the patient. So they have it right in front of them, just like a tablet that's made out of paper, but it's electronic. And then, of course, they also have the clearinghouse built into our system, which is pretty unique because usually that's a third-party company that you have to send those claims to have them cleared, scrubbed, they call it, and made sure that they get through. Other companies will force you to sign up with a clearinghouse on your own. You have to pick it out of a dozen that are out there and figure out which one's going to give you the best service, the best prices, so forth. We don't mess with that, folks. We have it built into our system. The only system, by the way, Eric, that I know of, the cloud-based system that has that.
Yeah. And folks, if you want to see this, I mentioned to you earlier that we do the live demonstrations for your prospective practices. So remember, thinking what Dan said earlier, yes, he got a book, he got engaged with a doctor, started having conversations, did the next step, which is called presenting a practice analysis. And then a demo comes into play. And just to kind of give you a quick brief review of that, we're going to show the doctors how inside of the system, utilizing our built-in clearinghouse, that we can check insurance eligibility, because that is one of the areas, folks, where doctors get lost and they start losing their money. They start to try to send out a bill before it's eligible. And there's some integral things that happen there. But get with your business coach here that you're working with. They'll step you through and show you exactly how all of this works, that running all of this information prior to even doing a bill, we'll already know exactly what the doctor is able to get. And then at that point, then everything gets loaded in the system. So imagine you're not having to type in the first name, the last name, and all the street addresses and all of that into the system, where a lot of systems you have to do that. There's potential to make mistakes there. And if you make a mistake typing stuff in, then when you go send the bill out, it's going to get rejected because it can't be found. Then you have to rebill it again. But if you can get all of that electronically inside of your system, and that's where the doctors go, you mean the patient's data? I can get the patient's data from their insurance company and have it populated into this system? The answer is yes. And that's where, Patrick, a lot of doctors go, wow, I've never seen that happen before.
Yeah.
It's
pretty interesting when we sit in on these demos And when you watch one done by our demonstration people for you, remember that's all included in your license fee, no extra charge for that. You'll see that same reaction from the doctors. And of course, you'll hear the questions they ask. You'll hear the answers that our support people give the doctor.
Right.
It's a beautiful way. And Eric, about half of all the doctors who see these demos are signing up with our licensees. So we're actually helping to close the deals with the
Yes.
doctors by giving these demos.
That's true. Absolutely. And it all starts with training. Patrick, let's kind of, I know we're kind of running up close to the top of the hour already. And we'll have to start getting into some next steps here in about 3 more minutes. But why don't you talk to them about what we've done even prior to the whole pandemic? We really went on one-on-one live training online now.
Yeah, we were doing it live here in Dallas at a hotel. People would fly in, stay at the hotel for a week, come into the little conference room that we had set up and actually sit there. Well, folks, we learned real fast during the pandemic that that's not necessary. We actually started this, like Eric said, at the end of 2019, before the pandemic actually was hitting us. And we started doing online training. Now, we actually do one-on-one with an instructor. This is an instructor who's been through the training themselves and have actually started their own business. Some of the people that we showed you earlier, for example, and they go through 10 different modules. You see them here on the screen. Each one lasts about 90 minutes. So you've got about 15 hours of initial training, we call it. Now, even though that looks like a lot that's covered, and it is, and there's some homework on each one of these modules, you can still get through all this in less than 30 days if that's what you'd like to do. Some people draw it out, take a little longer. They're not in any rush, but you can do it as fast as you wish. And that's just the beginning, Eric. We have many, many other things after that, don't we?
Absolutely. One quick question before we jump to kind of the next steps of some things to do. And I know that we've got some other slides we may have wanted to get to. We'll look at those. But Manna Camden's asking, are you saying you will provide the demos with the doctors? The answer is yes. We do that. It's not something you have to do. That's something that we do. So that is pretty spot on about what you're doing. Let's talk real quickly. We've already talked about MIRMA and the certification, because I think it goes all the way back to James's question earlier. How am I going to be trained? You're going to be trained again and certified as a certified medical revenue manager.
That's right. You'll get the certificate at the end of your training. And if you have a partner or a spouse who wants to go through the training as well, at the same time, along with you, they will be certified as well.
You bet. And then ongoing training is all the time. Patrick, I know that you host different trainings. You've got more training that happens after the fact. And then plus we have a lot of this already stored on our site that people can get to. Once you become a licensee, you'll be able to have access to all this ongoing training, knowing how to use code right, how to use the book for marketing, how to use other things to do. So yeah, that's all part of it. So Patrick, we've kind of come up to the top of the hour already. So we've answered the question, is owning your own business still the American dream? I believe that it still is.
I do too. Hey, Amanda Camden says, how many days one-on-one in-person training in Dallas, Texas? Well, remember, this is all done online in the comfort of your home, sitting right where you're sitting right now. We're doing this through Zoom with you, but it's a live instructor and it's just you and the instructor. There's nobody else on there unless you invite a partner or spouse.
And Patrick, getting into some of the next steps to think about, that even after you go through that training, you're still offering an unconditional 30-day money-back guarantee.
Yeah, when we started this, Eric, of course, people thought that I was nuts. And I said, look, we either have what we say we have or we don't. And if people go to our training and say, you know what, there were aspects of it that I didn't understand, I don't like it, I want them to be able to take their money and go and invest it in something else. We don't want your money, folks, unless you're going to make the business work for you, because that's how we make our ongoing revenue behind the scenes. A few pennies on each one of the transactions that goes through our system. And those pennies add up pretty fast, don't they, Eric?
You bet. Absolutely. Let's talk about their next steps, Patrick. I know this is need to get wrapped up here, but the first thing is you and your team have put together what's called a research guide.
Yeah, now this is a PDF document that's about 65 pages. It's growing, Eric, every time we talk about it, but it's information that's nowhere on our website. Now, the reason we do that is this is proprietary information that we're going to share with you if we deem that you are sincerely interested in getting into this business, folks. We don't want looky-loos. We don't want people who don't have any money to invest. We want you to be serious about this. So we will talk to you about this and send this to you to make sure that you're really, really sincerely interested in it. Then you can go browse our YouTube channel, which has dozens and dozens and dozens of videos, including interviews similar to the ones that you saw today. That's out there on youtube.com/YABS.
And the one that we're doing today is obviously being recorded. So if you missed something today, you want to share this with a partner or a business partner or spouse, it'll be up there in the next day or so. So you'll be able to go watch it.
Yeah. And some of those people that you just saw their pictures on the screen there, some of our business owners, current business owners, have agreed to be on what we call a reference list. And that means that you too can talk to people that are in this business already. They've done the due diligence. They've invested the money. They've gone through the training. They have experienced our support. They've gotten clients and they are actually running their businesses. And they've agreed to take a phone call from you. So be sure and ask for that list from your ABS rep as well. Then ask for that live demo that Eric talked about earlier, and we'll give one to you one-on-one. We'll get online with you and do a demo just so you see what the doctor's going to see when we do those demos for the doctor. You can also set in on the demos that we do for your doctor, by the way.
Yeah.
So you're hearing everything that's said during that as well. Then ask for your ABS rep to send you the purchase agreement. It's only 4 pages long, so this is not a real big, huge legal document that you've got to wade through. It just tells you what we're going to do, what you include in the license. It tells you about the guarantee, tells you about the training and so forth, gives you all the details you need. Ask for that, read it over, pass it by, a friend or relative or anybody that you want to take a look at as well. And then once you get that filled out and your funding all put together, just send that in. Send in your funding. We take credit cards, of course, and we take wires and cashier's check. And just let us know that you're ready to schedule your training.
There you go.